In local matters, Wisconsin's primary is coming up soon. Residents will take to the polls August 14th to select candidates for governor, U.S. senator, and other statewide races. There are 8 Democrats seeking the party's nomination for governor, hoping to take on incumbent Republican Governor Scott Walker in November. Patrick Marley is the political reporter for the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. He joins us now from Madison, Wisconsin. Thanks for your time today. I just want to get your sense on if any of these 8 Democrats really stand out in this race for governor.
Well, it is a very crowded field, and I think voters have had difficulty figuring out who they can support because they're all at a pretty similar level. The one candidate who has been the front runner is Tony Evers. He's the statewide school superintendent. He's won election 3 times statewide, has good name ID, and has led the polling we've seen. However, there have been more undecided voters than a number of people supporting him, so it's still an open field.
And what about the U.S. Senate race? There are 2 Republicans running. They would face Democrat Senator Tammy Baldwin in November. Just break down this race for us and how it compares to the race for governor, which you seem to be suggesting is a bit more wide open.
Yeah, well, the Senate race is no sure thing on the Republican side. It's 2 candidates, a state senator named Leah Vukmir and a Delafield businessman named Kevin Nicholson. And the 2 of them are locked in a very tight race. It's head-to-head, but that's sort of your classic, 2 candidates, both of them aligning themselves very closely with Trump, both of them, on the issues very similar. Vukmir has been a long-time state senator and before that a state representative and is the quote-unquote establishment candidate. She says she's the grassroots candidate because that's where her beginnings come from. Kevin Nicholson is new on the scene. He says he's an outsider. Says that's a very close race. Hard to see who will win there. But then in the Democratic race for governor, you've got this huge field where it is not clear exactly what's going to happen there.
And what issues seem to be driving most enthusiasm for Democrats and or Republicans in getting people out to the polls, does it seem?
Well, it seems that what's dominating the interest among the Democrats is opposition to the president and Republican control at the state and federal level. They are very motivated. Governor Walker has warned his supporters that that's a problem for him. He's been talking about since the spring the threat of a blue wave here. He seems to be concerned. In fact, he said it today, worried about that the Democrats' enthusiasm is much higher than his. He's trying to localize the race. He says he'll campaign with Trump, but he doesn't see this election being about Trump. You talk to Democratic voters, and they're very fired up because of their opposition to Trump.
Now, voting in Wisconsin is unique because of this crossover law when it comes to primaries. Just explain what that is for us and how it may impact things as they play out.
Yeah, so Wisconsin does not have party registration to vote. You don't have to say if you're a Democrat or a Republican. You can vote in one primary this time and in the next primary a different one. But on a given day, you can only vote in one of those. So you get a ballot that's got all the races. But if you vote in the Democratic primary for one office, you have to vote in the Democratic primary for all offices. So, for instance, you could not vote in the Democratic primary for governor and the Republican primary for Senate. That always has election clerks a little concerned that people will make mistakes on their ballot, that they just won't know the rules and they'll vote in the 2 different elections and risk invalidating their ballot.
Well, we will be watching closely. Patrick Marley, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me on.